Hi guys, Alex from Messy Painting here, and welcome back to my tutorial on how to paint my Necron colour scheme. So if you haven't watched the first part of the video, go and watch it now because it's halfway through your process. So the first thing you'll need to do after you've painted on the blue, if you just see where I've painted it on the middle of the head there, on the shoulder pads, the further forwards parts of the arms, the palms, the backs of the hands, the feet, not the heels, ankles or toes of the feet, but the other parts, and the lower leg between the knee and the foot. And so yeah, just have a look quickly at what parts I've painted. So no way as many. Oh, and also the place, the kind of coffin shape on the chest I've done in blue. That'll later be highlighted, the symbol will later be highlighted in the lighter blue. But the first thing we need to do now, because we'll be applying our light ice blue and also our silver in a minute, on the gun we need to, for this instance I'm going to use Imperial Primer, but as I said in the last video, you can also use watered down Chaos Black, watered down Abaddon Black, sorry, or any just thin black paint. So I'm just going to get a fairly small brush, just like a sort of halfway maybe between a base coat brush and a layer brush. I don't use Games Workshop brushes, so I don't know exactly what it's equivalent to. So just go over all the gun, which might have got blemished by other colours, and it's quite thin, so it won't lose any of the detail. But it just means, but because black's quite a strong colour, it'll be strong enough to cover up any marks. So just very quickly brush over it all. I've actually just got it on hand a bit, but I can easily fix that in a bit. The really hard bit is getting it between the leg and the gun. It's almost impossible not to. Quite a few mistakes, just small blemishes, can just be removed with a wet brush. And because the models can be a bit darker anyway, it's sometimes good if they have a slightly darker wash over them. Annoyingly, sometimes Imperial Primer is actually a tiny bit too thin, so I might give some of the things a few layers, but I'll do that off camera if I decide to. Also, some bits might have just got the primer less, so they might be lighter, they might be sort of grey. Them as well, just basically go over all of it. Anyway, I'll be back when that process is done, so I'll see you in a bit. So now I've gone over the entire gun in some parts of it Imperial Primer, and some parts where the Imperial Primer was actually too runny, I've just done pure Abaddon Black, and you can do the same with pure Chaos Black, just because on some parts, if it's just going into the crevices and there are blemishes on the corners and things, it's sometimes a bit hard, but just as long as you don't apply it too thickly, it's fine. So now the next step, I actually have just remembered that Tinny F2 suggested I should highlight the edges of the gun with a grey colour, Codex grey he actually said, but I in fact have Dawnstone already, and I thought I'd use that. So I'm not much good at proper edge highlighting, so I'll just take a small part on the very edge, on one edge of my brush, wipe most of it off. So one side has it on, one side doesn't really. And then just brush along the edges like this. And you get a grey line at the top there. I actually didn't have really enough on my brush then, but it's still a good idea not to have. It takes less paint than you imagine. For me it does anyway. Well, that one hasn't worked very well. I'll just remove that with a wet brush quickly. So it's kind of awkward doing it around the camera, but okay. Go away. That's, well, okay. I'll finish it off afterwards because that's kind of also taken off the other one I did, but you can see which bits I've highlighted afterwards. Okay, I'm back, and after a bit of a struggle, I've done some sort of edge highlighting in Dawnstone. So you can see I've just put it on more or less all the edges, but just not the whole of each edge, just so it's not too, I mean, it does look quite, you know, prominent, but it's just not too, it doesn't stand out too much, so it just looks almost as if it's not just sort of lines on the edge, if it's just the same colour, but, well, I haven't really achieved that anyway. I don't exactly know what I'm saying, but, so I've just kind of done lines on the edge of every single thing, but just in some places more than others. So see here, if you just want a quick look at where I've done it. Sorry, the camera is a bit pixelated at the moment. On the other side. So even on the focusing bits of the gun, I've done it a bit more faintly on all of the edges of those. Anyway, the next thing to do is the blue. So firstly we just get our ice blue, which is the colour, and we're not going to be doing any mixes just yet. So just get a smaller brush, which annoyingly the bristles on have kind of separated a bit for some reason, so it's a bit harder to use. So on each of the dots in here, just put one. The hairs on this have really, bristles have really that's really annoying. Sorry. So just on the circles. Okay. Well, I'm gonna have to use a different brush because the bristles on this are really separated and are going everywhere else, but I'll be back in a second. I'll show you in more detail what bits so hang on, I'm back. I haven't painted all the blue bits yet. I thought I'd just do a bit more in real time. I've just got a different brush, painting all this brush is a bit bigger, so it's a bit harder to use, but hopefully will work a bit better. I have splodged one of those circles, as you can see, but it doesn't really matter that much. When they're on the table you won't notice that. Just on the other side too. Oh damn it, that one's completely, I'm doing this from the wrong angle. But anyway, I'll just show you the this bit first. So the kind of tube that goes from his spine to the gun. Right now we just want to. It's actually only the middle tube, the kind of main middle tube that will be in blue, but at the moment it doesn't really matter. The other two blues will be, the other two tubes, sorry, will be in silver, the chainmail. But we'll come to that when we do the chainmail itself. So we're just applying it quite thickly. You can do 2 coats if you want, but I seldom bother because you don't really need to, and it just takes extra time. And it's better to go over the other 2 tubes than find when you start to paint them that you've left bits out and have to go back with the blue. So you really can just slather it on. And there isn't much danger of getting it on anything else at this stage, although I'll probably manage it knowing my skill. Anyway, I'll be back when that's all done. And okay, so now I've painted on the blue. You can see I've painted it on the dots, on the barrel of the gun, on the kind of energy chamber on the gun, on the small 2 tubes on the gun. I've completely filled in the barrel, the ends of the barrels, and with paint, and it's kind of sunk inwards towards the middle, which is quite a good effect. The dots on the other side. One of the hardest bits is the energy chamber on the other side. They're just behind that large tube, if you can see it. Obviously the large tube, as I said before, it's better to cover up the other 2 smaller tubes than find out when you come to paint them that there are bits of the blue tube uncovered, unpainted. The glyph on his chest, you can easily, because it's raised, you can easily just put paint on the side of the brush and then brush it across. The eyes, I've kind of filled in with a kind of quite thin mixture. You can just pick out the dots in the middle of the eyes, which I sometimes do. In fact, I make all of the eyes in a unit slightly different. Just, I don't know, it just kind of, well, I was going to say gives them personality, but they're not really supposed to have personality. But anyway, then this little tiny tube coming from the spine to the head. Also with the eyes, you can see I've on purpose done it a tiny bit over the bottom, so it looks a bit like it's sort of glowing, sort of. And yeah, so that's about all the blue, I think. So now what we're going to do is our lighter blue mix. I've got about 2 parts ice blue here. I'm just going to mix in 1 part. It's about 2 parts ice blue and 1 part white. So as I said in my other video, I'm using skull white. You can use, I think it's ceramite white. I know in the last video I said white scar, but I think I was wrong saying that. I think the base white is called ceramite white with the new ones, the newer paints. I still call them new. So as you can see, I'm just giving it a nice even colour all the way through. Now this is quite, I'm just going to do smaller dots in the middle of the gun dots, but you can also do lighter bits in the middle of the tubes and things like that, but I just haven't done those on the other immortals in his unit, and he would look a bit out of place, so that's the reason I'm not doing it on this guy. But if you ever decide to do a similar colour scheme to this, I think that would also look good. So just gonna tiny bit. I can't use my even smaller brush annoyingly because the ends split, and well, not the actual bristles, but the set of bristles kind of separated because I hadn't stored it very well. So So I'm not really sure how well this is going to work. I had a bit of trouble doing these dots anyway, which was strange because I usually find them all right. It was surprisingly easy, judging that they're absolutely minuscule. Just in the middle. It doesn't always have to be exactly in the middle. Well, not really. I mean, it's incredibly hard to do that anyway. Just put a bit to the side. Just try not to cover the entire blob. I did a bit too much paint here. We're not going to use all of this by any means, but you would if you were doing the other bits as well. This is actually quite a light mix. I think I did more white than I said, but it shouldn't be quite this light. Especially if you're doing the tubes, the transition. You might want to do a few mixes to make the transition a bit smoother. So yeah, that's the gun once done, but yeah, as I said, you could do other parts too. The next stage is the silver. As I said, I'm using chainmail. I'm still not sure what the newer equivalent is of this, but not sure actually. I really don't know, but you can probably just get this colour in particular on eBay or something like that. So firstly, just the kind of collarbone bit. Anyway, actually I'll just do that bit off camera because it may take some time, so I'll show you exactly what parts I've painted silver. Okay, and I've just about finished the silver. So the bits that I've done, well, firstly, the kind of collar, I've actually gone kind of underneath the neck there, in there, to do the silver, and also the kind of band round his collar. That, well, it's obviously a collar around the back there, like that. And on the back, the two kind of streaks that are at the top of his shoulder pads kind of join up with that, and also they go round the kind of blue tube that's connecting his spine to his head. Also, obviously, on the tube here, we have the two tubes at the side. You might have to kind of do really weird angles to paint these to get around inside them. And I actually had to go over some bits in blue again that I'd smudged or things, because it is quite hard to paint behind that. So anyway, all we need to do on the guy now is give him a coat of gloss varnish. And first though, we'll do the base because it might blemish some of the blue bits. So we get our Dawnstone, and some people have instructed me to do a what they call texture colour first, because they have sand in and stuff, so it gives it a kind of thicker layer. And I'm thinking I might get one, possibly Astro Granite, and then go over it in Dawnstone just to make all the bases match. But at the moment I haven't got a texture colour, so I'm just sticking to plain Dawnstone, which means you can sort of see like the mould lines and stuff in the base, which is a shame, but as I say, I haven't got a texture colour yet. So just at the moment I'm just going to have to use Dawnstone. And it doesn't matter if it really goes out onto the kind of ring around the edge, because we're really painting those. I usually give because I don't have a texture yet, I usually give the Dawnstone a few coats. I'll just do this one on camera. Actually, you're probably bored watching that, so. Okay, it's not quite dry yet, and I've only done one thick layer for time's sake, but I'm just gonna quickly go in with the band around the edge. So we're just gonna use Balthazar Gold, the main bronze colour we used earlier. This might also need 2 coats, but like before, just for time's sake, I'm only gonna do 1, but the black might still show through. Just use a fairly big brush so you can get the entire edge round in one. That's way too much. But never mind. So anyway, just kind of sweep round. It doesn't really matter that much if it goes over the grey a bit, because you know no one's really going to be looking at the base. And a few mistakes like that don't really matter. As you can see, quite a lot of the black is still showing through. So if you were going to do this on your own, it would be more advisable to do 2 coats. Another thing is, quickly, if you want to do foam on the bases like I've done on my other ones, the only reason I'm not doing it in this tutorial is my other immortals don't have foam on, so you know they would look a bit out of place. But you just get this kind of green packaging foam. You would prime it with the Chaos Black like everything else. Stick it on before you prime it rather, and then when you paint it, just paint it in the grey, leaving a few holes and bubbles still in black for a bit of depth, and then do a bit of a heavy dry brush in the chainmail just over the top so it looks a bit metallic. If you haven't seen what I'm talking about, you could go to my first Necron video on YouTube, which is my Necron Warriors video. If you just go to videos on my channel. So that's basically the band on the edge. Yeah, as I said, the grey's a bit dry, so it's mixing a bit, but you get the general idea. Like so. And now what we need to do is apply the art coat, which is basically just gloss varnish. So first I'm gonna apply a layer of art coat to all the blue and black surfaces. Actually, there's a special thing I do for the gun, so I'm just gonna do the blue surfaces first, and then I'll show you. So just things like just everything dark blue. I usually don't do the light blue. And actually, I can't exactly remember. Yeah, that's a bit embarrassing. I think I don't do the. If that isn't true, I'll put an annotation in afterwards. So just these things. Sorry, the disk space on my camera just ran out, so I'm now using the slightly worse one, which can't actually refocus once it started recording, annoyingly. So anyway, I've just gone ahead and painted all the blue bits. Now I'm going to show you exactly how I varnish the black bits. The reason I do this so complicated is just because the black is, apart from the highlights, the black is a bit of an unbroken colour and it's just a bit boring. So what I do is I gloss the blade, and I gloss the edges, well, the kind of tops of the focusing bits, so just the kind of top faces. And I don't gloss the barrels of the guns. I do gloss the dots on the guns, which sometimes does what it's doing now, which is runs into the cracks, which is actually sometimes quite good. The main body of the gun I varnish. I don't varnish the energy chamber bit, but I varnish all the black around it. Don't varnish the blue piping at all. I realise I've actually left something out. The ringed tube underneath the gun would be painted in silver. I knew I'd missed something out. But anyway, you just know that. So the kind of ringed tube underneath there. So anyway, I'll leave a few pictures at the end once this is dried and stuff, but I can see my battery's running out. If you want it to be extra shiny, I would recommend putting a coat of the old gloss varnish on after you've done 1 or 2 coats of hard coat, because it's just a bit shinier. But anyway, for the moment, please like, comment and leave tips in the comments section. Subscribe, favourite, and this is Alex from Messy Painting signing.